afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. I'm Laura Thompson with TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach. And you tuned into the coffee break. And guess who I ran into? I haven't seen this lady in, 5 or 6 years in person, except a couple of weeks ago I did run into her, Miss Josey Garcia, but, respectfully, State Representative Josey Garcia. She's the state representative for District 124, and she just came by to chop it up with me today and talk about some of the things that she's been doing, and we're going to try to catch up a little bit. How you doing, Josie?
Good. It's so good to see you.
It's good seeing you. So what's going on out
Lord,
there?
a little bit of everything.
I know, right?
A little bit of everything, and I think what we have happening right now is very historic. It hit me when you was like, we haven't seen each other in person in so long, and it brings me back to when we first met.
Right.
A lot was happening. We were experiencing COVID-19.
Yeah.
We were experiencing a biblical virus that was, taking our loved ones away. We were witnessing a crash of our economy. People didn't have jobs. We were witnessing a freeze where our power wasn't accessible. 5 years later, we're experiencing some of the same things again.
Right, but a little bit more escalated. I think it's a little bit more violent, a little scary for people.
Absolutely.
I think that a lot of scare tactics are being used to, put fear in the hearts of our citizens. And so, but it's also a good time too.
Absolutely, it's a good time because I remind people that history repeats itself, and if we're not present, boy, I'll tell you what. I'm like, as bad as things are right now, I've got good news. We've already won these fights before. Right. And so it's our duty to carry the baton and keep marching forward. It's sad that we experienced the death of Reverend Jesse Jackson this year. Right. Well, just last week, actually. And that's a call to action there in itself.
Right.
That we have to be present and fighting, and we're seeing that happen right now. A lot of people are getting more politically involved. A lot of folks are trying to learn more about the process. But even more so, people are very upset that there's a weaponization of our Lord Jesus Christ happening.
Right. It's a weaponization of Jesus Christ. It's a weaponization of
humanity.
The humanity and the spirit, the hearts, of the citizens in America. I don't like to say devastating because I always look at, when you have to fight, you do.
Yeah.
And so I think the citizens are being mobilized to fight, and they have to. It's a lot of things happening that. Well, I'll put it like this. We're living in a lawless time right now. So you can say I'm going to sue, and you can't do that. It's against the law. But everything goes right now,
and we can't even count on accountability.
Right.
Like when we think about what's happening nationally, we have folks that are presenting themselves as Christian, as the American standard, but yet they're not holding people accountable when we're talking about the Epstein files and, the pedophilia evidence that's out there. It's not even an accusation anymore. Right. Like, there's real evidence of that, and we're not seeing any action on that nationally. But we are seeing people's homes getting raided with no-knock warrants. Right.
But it's a lawless society, and like you said, I've been saying it a lot. History repeats itself. And before, if you look back at history, there were some gangster periods in history where the Great Revolution and things changed, and citizens were at risk, and wars were about to break out. We're in a civil war right now.
Oh, we are.
Whether we realize it or not, and whether we call it that.
But the war is now televised.
Right, I know. All right.
The war is being televised, and that's the important part.
Right. Well, see, Gil Scott-Heron didn't know that we were going to have technology and Facebook and social media and all of that. He didn't know that then.
Imagine, though.
Right.
Imagine that they had the same ability that we have now to reach the masses, like with you. And that's one thing I want to mention. When we're talking about the civil rights portion of it, let's talk about the community care that comes with that. And because of you and Tan TV during Snowvid, you remember that? So I got to just share real quick. We were sitting, it was Snowvid, everybody's power was out, people didn't really know what to do, and I remember logging into Facebook, and at that time, I wasn't very active on Facebook. And so for me, being a military veteran and being a revolutionary at the time and an activist, we tried to stay out of the media and out of the spotlight and not be a part of any of that. But you and I collaborated one night. You messaged me and you said, Josey, I see what you're doing, because I was collecting people's stories online that needed help. As we were doing that, I was telling Pharaoh and the team, and they were going down, and, when nobody else was out and the roads were iced, Tan TV helped us get the news out of what we were doing, and we were able to bring community partners together, because at a time like this, we can't wait for everybody else to take care of us. We have to do it ourselves. And when we did that with you, that kind of spurred on our work in the nonprofit world, where we have become a rapid response team, to all things tragedy. That is what the revolution is about. That's what the revolution now being televised really means, that we now have a wider reach to come together, even though we all might not have the exact same ideas and thoughts. We come from different worlds, experiences, and generations. But what we have the ability to do now is see what we don't want to be a part of, and be able to focus our energy with the people that are doing the work. And so that was a beautiful and lasting impression on me as an activist, to have somebody like you in the media open your doors to Pharaoh and I at that time. Sorry, I'll stop preaching.
No, that's okay. We did a lot of things. You brought in people and had panel discussions.
Yes.
And brought in people that could provide resources and help some people. There was an apartment complex that seniors lived in that you were able to, as a result of us going online and live on social media, we were able to reach some people to get that help. And so, it's just amazing, the things that we were able to do back then. But, speaking of revolution, revolution means it's a fight for change.
That's right.
And that's all it is. It's not, a lot of people are fearful about what's happening, but it has to happen.
Yes.
A lot of transition and transformation is going on right now, and there is a decoy that's being utilized to keep people distracted, but.
Yes.
But it's a lot of, like our currency, is changing. And, the banking system is changing. The way we do business is changing. And they've been training us for years. They trained us with credit cards and debit cards and then shopping online. And so there's so many different things that are happening right now to change the world that people are not aware of. And so, it's legislators, like yourself and many others that are privy to some of the inside things that are going on that are going to affect people, but it's hard to get that message out.
It is because we're finding ourselves in a realm right now to where if you are out there and you're doing the work, then you're doing too much. Or if you're trying to help folks and you're trying to be genuine to your service and go above and beyond, then you're doing too much. Or the crabs in a bucket mentality. That's something that, historically we're so used to. We're not used to having an opportunity to have a seat at the table. And so the way that I legislate that's different is my seat is for all of us. There is no, this is my bill, this is my legislation. When I'm telling you there's students from here in Bexar County that have written legislation that I turned into a bill for them, we welcome community collaboration, community partnership, but even more so, community recognition. That is so important to me, bringing those of you in the community who are present, our activists, our advocates, our non-profiteers, our folks who are doing media. we've had a lot of support in media in Texas. And one thing that I'm working really hard on is making sure that Bexar County and San Antonio gets its fair shake when it comes to all of these huge leading industries that are coming here. We've got the opportunity for our kids to thrive right here in our own city, in industries that they want to be a part of. No more sending them away to California or New York or, overseas, because that's where they have to go to get the opportunity. We're going to start breeding the opportunities right here in San Antonio.
I read where it's going to be equivalent to Silicon Valley in California. So
Yes.
that's why a lot of people are coming here from California,
Yes.
because they're used to, and they built that industry. They built the film industry. They built the technology industry, and so they're going to be coming to San Antonio, and so we got to get our people
Get out
ready,
of shape, yes.
so that they won't just come in and take all those jobs.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that I do whenever we're working with our colleagues in the House of Representatives on these issues. We always ask first, there needs to be a clause in there to ensure that these opportunities are Texas-made opportunities. That although, yes, we do want the industry greats and the professionals and folks to come in from other places as well, we have to take care of us first. And that's another thing, too. I'm the only woman on the Energy Committee for the state of Texas. So let's think about that for the House of Representatives. It really speaks to my ability to sit down at the table with anybody and everybody and come to an agreement on what's best for Texans. And that's a big deal when we have a Republican majority House. But I'm very confident to say that the way that we navigate the floor, the community, we coalition build. It's so easy for us to be mad at folks that don't agree with us, or it's so easy for us to attack other people. But I don't got time for that. There's too many folks that we're impacting here. Almost every member of my legislative team comes from a impacted background, meaning they were either impacted by foster care, by parents who didn't care for them, by juvenile incarceration, by addiction, by name it. Name an ill, name a thing that happens to people that keeps us from being able to succeed, that keeps us from being able to focus on rehabilitation of our youth, that keeps us from being able to authentically serve when we don't think these places are for us. Because of that, every single one of us was new to the legislature, and every single one of those young people is now a legislative aide, a legislative director. They're building legislation, they're meeting the communities, and they're still feeding our communities too.
Tuned into the coffee break on TAN TV. I'm here with State Representative Josey Garcia from District 124, and we're talking about all types of things that are affecting our community. So tell us some of the there's a big conversation about education and the transformation of education. Yes. So talk about that for a little bit.
So this has been what we have been battling, not just for the last 2 sessions that I've been there, but for the last 20 plus 50 years in Texas. So the voucher fight is what people call it, the voucher fight, where we were trying to protect public schools. People have a misconception that we are anti-private schools, we are anti-charter schools. We are pro 150% fully funding our public schools. And when we have dozens upon dozens of schools being closed in San Antonio, that's where we need the focus. When we have our rural areas that don't have access to charter schools or public or private schools, the only thing they have are their public schools. We couldn't get funding for them because we were told that if we did not support this $50 billion, would it be actually fund for vouchers, that they wouldn't give any funding to our teachers for their raises, they wouldn't give any funding to our schools, and the funding that they were proposing was nowhere near equitable to put us on a national average. Our teachers are some of the most underpaid teachers in the nation. And I'm sorry, but when Texas has 3 or 4 piggy banks that have $30 billion in them with the bees, we need to think about what we really can invest in here and what 50 years of our current administration leadership in Texas has failed to do, and what we found ourselves in. And I'll speak for myself as a woman veteran, and I'm proud and honored to be the first and only woman veteran to serve in that capital, in either houses as an elected. When I look at our children and our teachers being held hostage for this billionaire funded voucher that isn't going to go to our kids, okay? Let's think about this. And what do I say when I say isn't going to go to our kids? I mean the ones that live here in San Antonio in our neighborhoods. Okay, not on the east side, not on the west side, not on the southwest side. None of our children are gonna be at the top of the list to get those vouchers. And let me tell you, they have 50,000 seats available or vouchers available. Over 100,000 parents registered for them. So now, what's the system? We ask them, okay, so is there a system that says who gets the voucher, whose number in line, who is it? No, there's no accountability on it. I've been asking our community members, because here, at the end of the day, if this is an educational option that's available for our kids, please try to use it. It's taxpayer funded for private school, okay? So try to use that money if it's available to you, right? And I want to know, please give us feedback. I want to know if anyone in San Antonio, Bexar County is utilizing this voucher and if it's working for you. Because what history has told us is that what's going to happen is the money dries up. This money isn't indefinite. $1 billion. $1 billion to start. Increased yes. So I think in 10 years, they estimated that it would be about $50 billion in 10 years. And this is still not even putting our public schools at an equitable place. Literally, these are the same representatives, the same House that voted against summer school lunch. Summer school lunch. Who needs summer school lunch? You know what I'm saying? It's our economically impacted communities that need that. These are the types of things that are being held hostage to enrich the pockets of a private industry. And it's also religious based. You can't be any religion and get a private school voucher. It's certain religions. They're about to. Matter of fact, we have Representative Bojani and Dr. Leilani. They're 2 Muslim American representatives. Already, every Muslim private school is nixed off the list. They can't apply. They can't accept. And so when you find that you're going against, and attacking certain religious, people for this voucher that you're going to be accepting to other religious schools. I mean, it's just really not sending a message of being free and for the whole community.
Not free. It's not. It's a big power struggle. But it's more of us than it is of them. And we're in the midst of early voting,
Yes.
In the primaries, and the some of the people that we need in there the most, or on the Democratic side. And, the Democrats are winning right now.
Oh, yes.
So I don't know what the ground game is for, the Republicans or the other party, but right now, day by day, the numbers are showing that there's a blue wave, and that we're trending blue, and it just might change some things. And a lot of those guys that have been in the red positions, they're aging out. They really need to, go somewhere and sit down. Maybe on both sides, they're aging out, and the world is different from what it was when they were, at their prime. You can't really legislate a world that you don't know anything about. You know, I don't think, but it's just a power struggle. There should be a term limit. There's just a lot of things, but we got this. We've created this huge government, and all of these different moving pieces. When it's just a few basic needs that citizens really, really need in order to thrive. In this world, in this state, in this county, in this city, in the community, and so, um, it's incumbent upon voters to get out and vote and change it. I was reading that Austin doing horrible in terms of Democrat Republican, so voting. So they talked about, well, the early voting is not going to be ready at 7. It might be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock before we release the early voting results. Well, we see them every day. We can count them. You don't really need to. You don't really need to release them. We're counting them every day. But they come up with all these different methods to just to keep people confused and hold us hostage.
Your voter registration card yet?
Yeah.
You got yours?
Mm-hmm.
I don't got one yet.
Oh wow. So what? But you got your ID, right?
Oh yeah, I got my ID. Yeah, no problem there. But that's one way that we've been suppressed.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because some people don't know that you can go without your voter registration card. But to speak to that blue wave, look, when I have some of my colleagues that are lifelong Republicans asking me what I think, about them potentially switching their party, because they said, look, I'm a Christian and what's happening right now is very unchristian and I can't support anything like this. I'm going to paint a picture for you, which you know already, but just so people understand. We as Democrats have so much freedom. We have so much freedom to go to the Capitol and vote for our constituency. And that's what I do. Every vote that I take, first thing I do is I call Pharaoh, he's my chief of staff. I call Pharaoh and ask him to check our email, see if I've had any calls from our constituents that are against the bill for any reason, right? Second thing I do is, first of all, is it even morally sound? If it's not morally sound, then I'm not going to take it anyway. It's automatically a no. And that's the one thing. Integrity, service before self, those are things that I don't compromise for anybody. But our colleagues at the House, the Republican House members, they have a list that they're given. It's a vote list. That list is every single bill that is coming up that day and how you will vote, how you have to vote. And if you don't vote that way, then you get in trouble. Like, I literally see these types of things happening on the floor. Like, we even witnessed, we're in the middle of the school finance votes and all of that, and this is a true story, too. I'm telling y'all the truth because, I'm new to politics in the last 3 years, right? Sitting on the floor, we were in the middle of the voucher fight, and you guys know we had special session. We had 3 special sessions on it. We're threatened, no, 5 actually. Anyways, we were sitting on the floor. We were in the middle of taking the vote for the vouchers. Everything stopped. The Republican House members left the floor and went to a meeting. Donald Trump himself called them to congratulate them on voting yes for the ESA and how he's so proud of them, and all the ones that we thought were going to be the ones that were going to help protect public schools from this were some of the ones that were too afraid to stay with their constituency and protect their public schools. So this is the type of manipulation that we're witnessing happening, and that's an overreach of our government. That is such an overreach when you can have the President of the United States call and manipulate our votes. The same thing with the redistricting fight. With redistricting, I was blessed to be a part of that committee. I was on the Congressional Redistricting Committee. And we had hearings in in Houston, in Fort Worth, and Austin. 4 hearings, okay, just 4, to impact the entire state of Texas. We heard thousands of people. There were ranchers from the Panhandle that drove up. There were Muslims from Houston that would come out. One thing is that Texans were united for the first time since 9/11 and saying we do not need this redistricting right now. It's only been 5 years. We don't have the census, which is the material, the data that we need for it. And they did it anyways. They totally discounted because they were too interested in getting rid of our 2 black representatives and our Latino representative. Why, as many seats as there are, there wasn't some other ones that y'all had a closer stronghold on that you could have grabbed? Instead, it was a divide and conquer of us as people. And that's where we laugh in the face of them. Because you can't divide and conquer us. We've won these fights already before, and we're here for it again, and we're going to stay there for it again, unapologetically. And so that's another thing, too. That's another reason why a lot of people are leaving the Republican Party. They're crossing over to vote in this Democratic primary because they're tired of what they're seeing. It's not Christian, it's not American, and it's definitely not Texan.
It's lawless. We're living in a lawless society.
It's wild.
So it to me, with the insurrection in January 6th, it's that was a sign that was saying this is what we're getting ready to do. But now it's like a mass insurrection of America on American soil. So we're never going to be the same. We're never going to be the same. We're gonna get it under control, but they have to show their ugly hands and faces before, we really know and realize what's happening, and then you could do something about it. But right now, it's just like it's free game. It's free game, as citizens, and it's free game for them, and they have the power right now. But that's just right now.
They got the power right now. They're throwing masks and hoods on, armed men, and innocent civilians are being shot while they're unarmed in the back 9 times. And so that's very reminiscent of a time that we remember not too long ago. Very reminiscent of men with hoods on coming and snatching you out of your home unjustly because you smell funny. And that's one thing too I want y'all to know is that last session in the House of Representatives, they made it legal that smell is probable cause for stopping somebody because immigrants smell funny. Now I want to paint this picture to you. A large portion of immigrants that are coming are from African American countries. Well, not African American countries, from Latin American countries, but they're black. We got black Latinos from Haiti. We got black Latinos from Uruguay, from Central America. I want to paint this picture for you. Fabi, beautiful young girl I had the blessing to meet at the border of Del Rio and Ciudad Acuña. Fabi had walked on foot from Chile, 2,000 miles with her infant and her husband. Now, I don't have to tell you the type of horrors that she endured on that journey, right? She's not somebody that needs to be hunted and thrown away, you know what I mean? She's somebody that needs help navigating through the system. She's already applied for her visa twice. She's applied twice. It keeps getting caught up in red tape, and guess what happens to the people who applied for their visas or their citizenship here in Texas and are part of those congressional redistrictings? All of it's kicked out because now you have a new congressional representative. All of our veterans that contact their congressperson because their benefits are in limbo. It takes a lot for us to get our benefits as veterans. Well, guess what? All of them that have been impacted by that redistricting, gone. You got to reapply again, all over again, and so people don't think about the scatter radiation or the scatter, shrapnel that comes off of these things that the administration and Texas is doing. At the end of the day, we're not a society that hunts the streets and snatches babies up. That's just weird. That's just not us. That's 1940s, 1900s.
Third world.
This is third world in our America. And and I'm sorry, but I've walked the streets of Africa as a military member. I've walked the streets of Iraq as a military member, as a woman in uniform who was an advisor to the Iraqi military. We have given more peace and more rights to Iraqi Al Qaeda POWs than we're given right here to these refugees that have walked on foot 2,000 miles from Chile and experienced every horror that was imaginable.
So, again, you heard it first from Representative Josey Garcia.
You make me preach
on,
over here,
on,
you know
on
why?
TNT.
It's infuriating that they're doing it right in our face. You know, and that's why we have to keep getting up. We got to get to the polls. Look, I don't care. You don't have to rep a set. You don't have to rep red or blue. Get to the polls. Vote. Because if we're not there together, then guess what's going to happen?
So we ready or not?
We're ready. We're ready. We stay ready.
Right.
We stay ready. You know my team stays ready, right?
So we're here with Representative Josey Garcia from District 124, and she's given us the 411 on a lot of things that are happening. It's a lot, and it's a lot for our representatives to bear sometimes. But she's up for re-election.
I am.
And so talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So I'm proud to say I've not drawn a Democratic primary. So this will be my third term in the House, and I need y'all. I need help. You know, you guys know me. You know I lead from the front, from COVID to the power outage to humanitarian crises. I've been able to place myself in a very wonderful position to advocate for Bexar County and San Antonio. And trust me, y'all, they try to leave us behind in the grand scheme of Texas, but we're standing focused and we're doing the work. We make sure that our focus is community first. Anybody that ever calls our office, we're there for you. You call us any time or day. We have a cell phone number. I'll drop the number for you right now, 210-701 7316, 210-701-7316. If you call, we will come and help. No task too big, no task too small. You know how we are. But the thing is that we have to be present, y'all. And when we're going into a very hyper partisan arena, people tend to try to be ugly and hit below the belt. We're witnessing a lot of that now, especially in the primaries on both sides. I don't work that way. I'm somebody who works with the community. I don't care, if I have vast differences from anybody. Like I said, I've had to do emergency dental treatment on Al Qaeda. Everybody's welcome to my table, because at the end of the day, the only way that we're going to push forward is by collectively working together. Now, some folks aren't on the same mission as we are, right? And unfortunately, when that's to serve unapologetically, that's what we're here for. This election isn't for me. This election is for us. For me to keep continuing to serve us. I never thought I'd be in politics. I didn't choose politics. But when the Lord speaks, I listen. And I'm proud to say that wherever the journey takes me, I'm there for it.
So you've been tuned into the Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach. And I've been here with the fabulous, phenomenal, incomparable State Representative Josey Garcia from District 124. And thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me on the coffee break for a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. We got to do it more.
Right.
Yes, we actually have a summit that's coming. The secretary of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and we're working on a legislative summit, bringing forward our community leaders, our community members, but more importantly, our businesses. We need to make sure that we're bringing our black businesses to the table. And please, y'all, let us know what we can do. Can we uplift a local business? Can we uplift somebody that we know that needs to be recognized? Any of you that you want to get together, let's do something like that. Let's have a get together, honor some folks, take them to the capitals, and get their names marked in Texas history.
Wow. So thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.